Session 13, the headline formula. Your headline is the ad for the ad. People skim headlines to decide what to read. If the headline doesn't grab attention, it's very unlikely that the content will, so people skip it. A headline is literally the ad for the ad, so focus your attention on making it powerful. When you have a print ad or something that has words, remember, people judge the content of the ad by what's written in the headline. Many or maybe even most advertisements that are designed do not have a prominent headline, okay, which is a huge mistake because people skim headlines to decide what to pay attention to. Your headline has a big job, so give it all the help you can. Headlines make or break advertisements and marketing pieces. Headline writers are some of the highest paid writers at magazines, papers, etc. You should invest as much time writing headlines, subheadlines, and bullets as you do investing in writing copy. Okay, so what do I mean here? A lot of leverage comes when you can focus your time, effort, and energy on those touch points in your marketing process that have, a lot of leverage. There's a lot of leverage to be gained by them. Where you can make one little turn on the carburetor screw and you can get a lot more power out of it. Where you can tweak something a little bit and you can get a lot higher response or a lot higher result. Because we humans are overworked, we're over-communicated, we're over-distracted, we're constantly scanning the horizon to see if there's anything that might be of value to us. We're very distractible. And we're just kind of skipping through headlines to see if something makes sense to us. Notice the next time you look at a search engine, the next time you look at a newspaper, just try to watch your own behavior, and you'll see that you skim through looking at headlines. So it goes to show, if this is the ad for the ad, if this is the make or break, that we should put a lot of time and effort and energy into writing the headline. Now, throughout your advertisement, your marketing piece, whether it be a sales letter, whether it be a piece of marketing content, even if it's a video, you're going to want to have what are called subheadlines and bullets. And these are really little miniature headlines that are used throughout to focus value, to condense what you're trying to say into a short phrase, to really juice up your communication. If you think about the process of refining something to make it very powerful, that's what you're doing here with your marketing. You're refining all of the work we've done so far. You're putting it into one group of a few words, maybe 5, 10, 20 words that will be your headline, and this is going to go out and be one of your primary marketing tools or weapons. It's also important to remember that headline writers are different from content writers. So if you look at a magazine or you look at a news website, the people that are writing the headlines are different from the people that are the journalists that are writing the articles. And the headline writers are some of the highest paid. Why is this? Because they're the ones that are grabbing the attention. Okay, so if they're getting paid the most, you should probably realize that you're getting paid the most when you are investing in writing your headlines. So it's important to use high emotion value words and phrases. Some words and phrases trigger stronger emotions than others. For instance, the word lawyer triggers a stronger emotion in most people than the word attorney. The word fat triggers more of an emotional response than the word extra pounds. The word belly fat, or even the words fat ass, will trigger an even higher emotional response in most people than just the word fat alone. It's very worthwhile to listen to your customers as you're interacting with them, as you're doing sales interviews and research conversations, as you're surveying them. Listen carefully to the words that they're using and see if you can pinpoint the specific high emotion value words to use in your advertisements and in your marketing. In fact, it's a good idea to start keeping a file of these high emotion value words and phrases so that you can tap into it anytime you need it. So, what are your high emotion value terms? What are the terms that your prospects and customers are using to describe their fears and their frustrations, their wants and their aspirations? What are the terms? What are the phrases? What are those unique ideas that are then being captured in words that trigger emotion? These are the words you should use in your headlines. Offer the promise of a result, a benefit, or relief in your headline. As we've learned, people are motivated by results, benefits, relief, so offer these key motivators in your headline or your opening. Your prospect can't hear about their wants, fears, desires, and challenges too much. Now, I also want to clarify here that your headline can be considered the big words at the top of your ad, but they can also be considered the first words that you say in a teleclass. They're the first words that you say in a video presentation. They're whatever the beginning is. And you don't want to save your good stuff for later. Okay? People don't have time. If you listen to all of the Beatles' #1 hits from back in the 60s, you'll notice something that most of their #1 hits have in common that most songs do not. And it is that they take the hook, okay, or whatever the name of the song is, and the memorable lyric, the memorable melody, and they start playing it at the beginning. Okay, go and listen to them and you'll hear the hook or the chorus is right at the beginning of almost every single one of their #1 hits. Okay? They understood that you got to get your best stuff out up front. So for you, offer the promise of a result, a benefit, or relief right up front and use those power words as quickly as you can. So I want to give you 5 of my favorite famous headlines that worked. Now, these are headlines that they're literally world famous. You'll read about these in advertising books and so forth. There's their mythological figures wrote these. The experts of the advertising and marketing world. Many of them made millions and millions and millions and sometimes more in sales as a result. So the first one, how to win friends and influence people. This is not only a headline that was used at the top of advertisements, it's also the title of one of the very best-selling books of all time. Sold, when I last checked, over 15 million copies and was #2 in the Western world only to the Bible. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Another famous ad that ran for decades, the headline was, "Do you make these mistakes in English?" Another famous headline, "How I Improved My Memory in One Evening." Another, "How a New Discovery Made a Plain Girl Beautiful." And then, one of the all-time most famous headlines, "At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock." Okay, so what do you notice about these headlines? What do you notice about them? Well, one of the things you notice is they pack a lot of punch. Okay, if you're reading these headlines, you probably want to know what the solution is or what the answer is. So, how to win friends and influence people. Well, I want to know how to do that. Do you make these mistakes in English? I think I'm, not too bad with English. I'm no master of the language or anything, but I want to know if I make those mistakes in English. How I improved my memory in one evening. Okay, I want to know that. That's something I'm immediately curious. I can improve my memory in one evening. How a new discovery made a plain girl beautiful. A new discovery that equals beauty. What does beauty equal, by the way? Well, to the human chimpanzee, it equals youth, attractiveness, and mating opportunities, reproduction, attracting a better mate. This one's more subtle, but very powerful for what it was marketing. At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock. So what is this suggesting? Well, it's suggesting that this is a really, really quiet car, or it has a really, really loud clock, or maybe some of both, but you get the idea. Powerful for marketing one of the most expensive automobiles in the world. So notice these offer benefits. Okay, they offer outcomes, they offer results, winning friends and influencing people. When you're asked, do you make these mistakes in English, the promise is that you're going to learn what the mistakes are and then be able to avoid them so that you don't look stupid, so that you can sound more intelligent. How I improved my memory in one evening. Okay? If your memory is going, or you've started to notice that you can't remember things, that's going to call your attention. You're going to want to read that. You're going to stop what you're doing immediately. A new discovery that made a plain girl beautiful. By the way, one of the things that I like about these headlines and why I'm using them as examples here is because these are simple headlines. There's no rocket science here. We don't have to use a bunch of fancy tricks. There's nothing sophisticated going on. We can simply ask, what is the benefit or the outcome or the result that we're promising? And then we format it up into a headline that draws the reader in. It pulls in our prospect. Now, something else that's important to keep in mind about your headline is that you need to align and connect your headline to every part of your marketing. One of the biggest marketing blunders that I see is a misalignment of headline, message, and offer. Consider what you're going to ask your customer to do at the end, okay, after they've read whatever your headline is at the beginning of or on the top of, and then align your headline with it. Make sure that all parts of your marketing are connected, continuous, and congruent. So we talked about the stair-step approach to marketing. And I mentioned to you already that it's important to keep a continuity, to offer the next step that makes sense for someone who took the step before. Don't continually change the message or change what you're offering. Well, when I look at advertisements, and I look at marketing pieces, whether they be sales letters, videos, websites, etc., what I often see is a headline that's speaking to one thing. Often it's ambiguous or it's not clear what it's talking about. But even if it is clear, then when you kind of dig deeper into the website or go further into the video, you realize that what's being sold isn't quite aligned with the headline. And the person that created it might say, well, yeah, but this is a great headline. And I might say, well, but that's like saying to someone, here's a map. It's a really, really great map. Look at how beautifully it's designed. Wonderful colors. It's easy to fold up and put it in your pocket. But then when you open it up, it's not accurate. Okay? All the different locations are in the wrong places. So you want to create a headline that is talking about the thing, essentially, that you're going to be selling down the road, not about something that's kind of related or that somehow fits. Make sure that it's aligned and it's congruent. When in doubt, start with the words how to. A tried and true formula for great headlines, subheads, and bullets is to start with the simple words how to. Many best-selling books start with the word how to. It's something you'll see all around you when you start to look for it. Add results, benefits, relief after how to, and you're already writing great headlines. So, how to lose belly fat. How to attract someone to get a date. How to get out of debt. How to buy your first home. Okay? Take the words how to and then put whatever it is that you are offering at the end of how to, and you've probably got a pretty good headline, especially if you're promising results, benefits relief. Okay, so when in doubt, start with the words how to. And I'll tell you, I use the words how to often. They're not something that you just use and then you go, okay, now I know how to do that and I'm going to get on to the next thing. How to is probably the most important opener for headlines that you can learn, and you should be using it regularly. And unless you've come up with something that you know is better, start with how to, because it forces you to create something that will make sense to your prospect. Now, you also want to reuse your headline powers in your marketing. Headlines are essentially concentrated marketing power focused into a few words. You want to reuse this power throughout your marketing in the form of subheads and bullets. So, every few minutes if you have a video, every half page to a page if you're writing long-form sales copy, you want to insert a subheadline that is another powerful promise of benefit. And then later on in your marketing, you want to summarize all of the different results, relief, things that you're going to offer into a series of bulleted little tiny headlines so that it's one powerful benefit after another, after another, after another. So I would say that at least 20 or 30% of your marketing should be using these headline powers and formulas that you're learning to create more little headlines and use them for subheads and for bullets. We'll learn more about this in a bit, where to put these and how to use them. But for now, keep using this superpower because it's one of the most important you're going to learn. So put subheads throughout your written copy. Put them in every few minutes in video or audio or live presentations, and have a section in your marketing where you list one bulleted benefit after another of what someone's going to get when they invest in your product or service. Okay, so let's do an exercise. Okay, you should be looking at the exercise that says Power Headline Formulas. Now we're going to practice creating the ultimate marketing weapon, a powerful headline. First, review your notes to find your strongest emotional motivators. Then, consider the benefits that your product or service offers. Finally, use the following formulas to write at least 10 variations of this headline that will grab your prospective customer's attention and draw them in instantly. So here's a result or benefit focus. So how to get a result quickly without risk. And an example, how to get out of debt in 90 days or less with this simple guaranteed system. Here's a pain focus, how to eliminate a specific pain without more pain. And an example would be how to lose 33 pounds of fat without torture diets or hard exercise. Here's one that focuses on the situation. If, and then the specific emotional hot button situation is happening, then your worst fear might be true. Example, if you experience lower back pain while sitting, then you may need surgery. Action focus, what to do if the specific hot button situation is happening. So, an example is what to do if you notice your husband looking at other women. Customer focus, 10 mistakes that customer description makes in situation and how to avoid them. Example, 10 mistakes most men make when approaching women and how to avoid them. The approach focus, okay, so why this common sense approach doesn't work and what to do about it. An example would be why diets don't work and what to do about it. And then magic. Now, rarely you get the opportunity to create a headline that's magic because someone can actually turn their problem into a benefit. These are just examples. If you had these and they were true, they would be very powerful. So, how to use your credit cards to make money. Or another, how to lose weight by eating more food. Magic is very appealing to people. We all believe that we can find some magic button or pill that'll solve problems. We don't want to sell anything that's not true, of course, which a lot of hucksters out there do. So you only want to use a headline like one of these if what you have really does work that well and you can back it up. Now, I want to warn you here, whenever making claims in marketing, Whenever making claims of any kind, they must be true, and you must be able to support them and back them up. And they must not be true 1 in a million times, but they must be true. There are laws and rules and regulations, and you should check with your legal and business professionals before you make any claims in your marketing. Just want you to know that you're responsible for anything that you say, and only say things that are true and things that you can prove. Okay, good. So let's do this exercise right now and see if you can create 10 variations of your headline using each of these formulas here. See if you can find a great headline that would attract attention from your customer, pull them in, and ultimately cause them to respond.